the modern worldview has, to a great extent, been replaced by a postmodern worldview, where absolute certainties have been replaced by more relativistic and, in some cases, more tolerant attitudes. Environmental responsibility, social equity, and human rights have become established in our legislations and in our thoughts and our actions. The notion of achieving more sustainable ways of living is held up by many political leaders and business leaders as something worth striving towards, even if and I would say there's relatively little understanding of what a sustainable society, what might actually look like, and even less of how we might actually get there from our current state of high energy use, resource depletion and consumption. However, over a period of about 40 years, these issues have steadily moved from lone voices and minor special interest groups on the sidelines to the forefront of people's minds, and they are now on an international level at center stage. They are affecting political agendas, development agendas, and are commanding major resources in terms of scientific and social research. In terms of what all this means to the designer, there are various ways that these changing understandings have been impacting the field of product design and the manufacturing sectors. A variety of legislations in many countries now control things like the dumping of toxic substances, the amount of air emissions allowed, water pollution, and so on. International voluntary programs lay down best practice guidelines for environmental responsibility. Programs such as the Natural Step, which was coming out of Sweden, have been taken up by a number of major corporations, and things like life cycle analysis have been developed to aid companies in designing products to have lower environmental impacts. And there have been a host of other programs and approaches that attempt in a whole bunch of different ways to address sustainable concerns. In Europe, for example, the WEEE directive, Waste Electrical and Electronic Equipment Directive, has been introduced to deal with waste electrical and electronic products by making producers more responsible for their products when those products reach the end of their useful life. And when you think that one through, you can see that's going to create a rethinking of how products are designed in the first place so that they can be dealt with more effectively when they reach the end of their useful life. So while there are many developments that run counter to our understandings of sustainable development, there are also many signs of change. Even though labor exploitation in developing countries is still widespread and is still often associated with large Western corporations, there are also areas where reform and positive change is taking place.